To my liberal friends out there, all you're doing is showing that you're scared you can't beat them on the issues and the merits. That's why he keeps saying it's a political campaign against me. Tens of millions of people see what extent the other side is willing to go through just to keep him out of office because they can't beat him on their own merits. Everything you do shows me you can't beat him. It's a damn shame.
Verbal or life.
And welcome to Verbal on Life. My name is Noel, battling MS, and bringing you the latest news. So like that, you can look at a different perspective, not just listen to the mainstream media. In this episode, we're going to take a look at Jesse Waters' take on the Trump trial, the greatest trial of this century. If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and click on that like and subscribe button. So like that, we can grow this channel and provide this information to more and more people. Okay, let's take a look.
Jesse Waters, Primetime tonight.
It's a rigged trial. Our courts, everything is screwed up in New York, and the whole world is watching. And also,
Why are you here?
No, c'est français. Je suis venu ici pour un rendez-vous.
Fox News alert, it is day 2 of Democrats putting Trump on trial for a crime they can't name. Over half of the jury's already been selected. We already know a lot about them, and it is hysterical. Before we tell you about them, remember that this is a Manhattan jury. It went 87% for Biden. And the judge who's overseeing the selection process is a Biden donor whose family was paid by the Biden campaign. Yesterday, 50 white women wearing masks fled the courtroom, claiming they couldn't be fair to Trump. Anyone wearing a mask at this point is not an impartial juror. Here's one white woman who works in cybersecurity who was excused. Listen.
Did you say you could be unbiased, though?
I did. It's very difficult for anyone really in this country to not come to this with prior opinions. I think we all have prior opinions about the defendant unless you've been like living in a cardboard box.
Show me a juror who says they can be unbiased towards Trump, and I'll show you a liar. That's why we don't have political trials in America. Fairness is impossible. Trump's legal team was given the names of potential jurors, and after Googling them, discovered there were undercover activists trying to sneak onto the jury. One juror couldn't recall any anti-Trump feeling, but when the defense showed him the receipts, he admitted he'd posted on social media, quote, "Donald Trump should be locked up." Another juror said he didn't remember posting anything bad about Trump. And then when shown the evidence, conceded to posting a picture that says, quote, "Trump invites Thai boys to the White House. Thai boys request to return to cage." Those two radical liberals got caught lying to the court and were almost seated on the jury. This is what Trump has to deal with. Yesterday, Clay Travis was criticized for suggesting Trump supporters get on the jury. So far, 7 jurors have been seated.
Now, this is information the mainstream media don't talk about. They're trying to make it seem like everything's fair, that that man broke the law, and that's why this is happening. But come on now. A court trial in New York, we got to call it out.
Here's what we know about them. The foreman, juror number 1. He's a salesman from Harlem who was born in Ireland. He used to be a waiter, didn't finish college, and likes anything outdoorsy. He's married with no kids. His wife's in school. He gets his news from the New York Times, the Daily Mail, and some Fox News and MSNBC. Never met anybody who watches both Fox and MSNBC, but okay. That guy's your jury foreman. Juror number 2.
You know, they got this country divided that if you listen to Fox, you're conservative. And if you listen to MSNBC, you're left-wing, progressive. And that's horrible. We got to listen to both sides and then make a decision, in my opinion. But comment below, what do you think?
2. A nurse from the Upper East Side with a master's degree. She's not married, has no kids, and lives with her fiance, who works in finance. She gets her news from the New York Times, Google, and CNN. She said two things that really stuck out. One, quote, "I don't really have an opinion of Trump," and, quote, "no one is above the law."
Again, this is not a regular person. This is an ex-president that is running to be the president this year, 2024.
Not so sure about juror number 2. Juror number 3 is a young Asian lawyer from Oregon. His corporate law firm features DEI on its homepage. He's single, lives in Chelsea, and was wearing a purple jacket. Okay? He claims he's not super familiar with Trump's other charges. He likes to hike and run and gets his news from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Google. Juror number 4 is a Puerto Rican who finds Trump fascinating and mysterious. Quote, "He walks into a room and he sets people off one way or the other. I find that really interesting, that this one guy can do all this. Wow." The guy was actually born in Puerto Rico, lives on the Lower East Side now, and works in IT. He's married and he has grandkids. Wife's a writer. Previously served on a jury, but says he doesn't remember the verdict. He gets his news from the New York Daily News, the New York Times, and Google. Anyway, juror number 5, a black woman in her 20s who doesn't follow the news and didn't know Trump was facing charges, any charges, anywhere.
How can you believe this? Like, this is the man at the center of the news, like on every channel. And all they do is give us information on how he is going to jail.
She lives in Harlem. She's a teacher. She's not married, has no kids, and lives with her brother, who's a basketball coach. She gets her news from Google and TikTok. She also listens to Charlemagne the God. Juror number 6 is a woman in her 20s who works for Disney. She made the courtroom laugh because she wanted to know if the trial would be over before September because she's a bridesmaid in her sister's wedding. She's not married, has no kids, and likes to dance. She lives with 3 roommates and gets her news from the New York Times, Google, Facebook, and of course TikTok, and says she doesn't have strong feelings about Trump one way or the other. Okay. Juror number 7 is a middle-aged, balding white guy with a tan. He lives on the Upper East Side, and you guessed it, another lawyer whose firm is big into DEI and ESG. He's originally from North Carolina, married with 2 kids, and his wife works at a bank. He gets his news from the New York Times, the Journal, the New York Post, the Washington Post, and he listens to NPR. So that's the jury of Trump's peers so far. The fate of a billionaire real estate tycoon, TV celebrity turned 45th president of the United States is in the hands of New York City lawyers, teachers, and Disney workers who like to dance and get their news from the Times. But
this is the most famous person on earth. And you say whatever you got to say just to get on the jury.
Swear they can be impartial. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Charlie Hurt. Charlie, I think at this point we can say it's not going to be an acquittal. I think the most Trump can hope for was a hung jury with one person holding on.
Look, that's all we're looking for here. The fate of the country, the fate of our entire political system rests on, and I'm going to put basically all of my hopes on the immigrant from Ireland and the Puerto Rican. I think they're our best shots at like saving American democracy. And my biggest concern, of course, is that 5 of the 7 read the New York Times, which is deeply alarming. Also concerning is how many of these people call themselves outdoorsy and they like to hike and they live in Manhattan. They're doing it wrong. That's not where you live if you're outdoorsy and you like to hike.
Yeah.
But I have to say that when you look at all of the people involved in this thing, this raft of people, even the people that are kind of ridiculous, like the software engineer from Walt Disney, and a number of them, I'm very doubtful that they're being honest about it.
Yeah.
But they're better than having the fate in the hands of Alvin Bragg.
Yes.
I will say that.
That is.
How about putting everything on the faith of the electors, of the people that go and vote, and let the people decide? Like Stephen A. Smith says, that's it. To let him on there, let the people take a look at both candidates and make a decision. That would be ideal. But no, lock him up by any means necessary.
Is true. Also concerning is the nurse on the Upper East Side with a master's degree and and the two DEI corporate litigators who claim they haven't really been following the case. Okay, let's move on. Joy Reid.
I get it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I get it. You can't swing a dead cat in New York City and not hit a lawyer. But why do you have lawyers on jurors? I would never let a lawyer on any jury of mine, but that's just me.
I mean, that
is the worst case scenario, to get a lawyer in there. Surprised they let him in.
It's just you. You're not a jury consultant, although you should be, because you'd probably be better than most of them. Joy Reid said there's poetic justice that DEI is taking down Donald Trump. Listen.
Donald Trump is being held to account by the very multicultural, multiracial democracy that he's trying to dismantle. And for me, there's something poetic and actually wonderful about that. It says something good about our country that we're still capable of having that happen. Go DEI. My DEIs are bringing it home.
Go DEI.
Look, we can make fun of her, but you have to hand it to her. She lives what she preaches. Wearing a Trump wig on TV every single night. If that's not DEI, I don't know what is. So kudos to her.
I mean, that's cultural appropriation, but I'm not that sensitive.
It is that. It is that.
Charlie Hurt.
Highly offensive in
Charlie
that regard.
Hurt. I cannot
diversity.
wait. I can't wait to find out who the next jurors are tomorrow. It's just going to be great. Guarantee there's another lawyer. Guarantee it. All right. We'll see.
I pray for another Puerto Rican and another Irish immigrant.
It's all we can hope for at this point. Thank you, Charlie Hurt.
Yep.
There's no crime. This is all politics. This is coming out of the White House.
A runaway jury in New York City. So Trump arrived at the courtroom earlier this morning and said this before he went inside.
I was paying a lawyer and marked it down as a legal expense. Some accountant, I didn't know, marked it down as a legal expense. That's exactly what it was. And you've been indicted over that? I should be right now in Pennsylvania, in Florida, in many other states, North Carolina, Georgia, campaigning. This is all coming from the Biden White House because the guy can't put two sentences together.
The judge today yelled at Trump for mumbling audibly during jury selection and told him to knock it off. District Attorney Alvin Bragg begged the judge to hold Trump in contempt and asked him to fine him $3,000 for violating his gag order. Trump had posted that the trial was corrupt. Oops, can't do that. And for the second day in a row, reporters caught Trump dozing off. Wake me up when I'm acquitted.
That's all they reported in the mainstream media. The fact that he might have been slouching off. I mean, come on now. That's all they got. Trying to compare him to Biden, because Biden falls asleep, from what we can say. But let's take a look.
Front page of multiple news outlets today coming out of this that Trump appeared to fall asleep on the first day of his trial.
Imagine committing so many crimes, you get bored at your own trial.
The optics of all this and the sustained eye resting that apparently happened in the courtroom. I mean, I do feel like if you call your opponent Sleepy Joe, you have one job for the rest of the campaign.
This little gem, Trump appears to be sleeping. His head keeps dropping down and his mouth goes slack.
After Trump woke up and found out who the 7 jurors were, NPR listening DEI lawyers, he went uptown to Harlem to visit a famous bodega. This was the place where Alvin Bragg charged the owner with murder just for merely defending himself during a robbery.
And this is the first president that I see go to Harlem and actually campaign. And he picked the right spot, going to a bodega where the crime is rampant, according to Trump. And I wish I was there. I grew up in Harlem. I'm like, he went back to my neighborhood. I've never seen a president go to my neighborhood to campaign. Because we all know New York City is a blue no matter who city. And for him to go ahead and try to flip it, but you know what? I think he's going to be able to flip it. Check it out.
This is all politics. This is coming out of the White House. And, you know, it makes me campaign locally, and that's okay. That's not, I don't think so. There we go. You know what? I don't think so. I think we're doing better, Brian. We're doing better now than we've ever done. So I think it's having a reverse effect.
They're making him campaign locally. The man is a genius. Since he got to go to court every day, they're off on Wednesdays, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, after going to court, he could go ahead and campaign in New York City. Oh, man. If he flips New York, that'll be crazy.
You know what? All I want is fairness. And these people have to be treated better. The Bodega Association, bodegas, because every week they're being robbed 2-3 times. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you know what? The police can do it. They can stop it. But they have to be allowed to do their job. So we're making a big play for New York. Other cities too, but this city, I love this city. And it's gone so bad in the last 4 years, and we're going to straighten New York out.
Wow, they're chanting Trump in Harlem. Let that sink in. Meanwhile, President Biden went to Scranton, his so-called hometown, to spew hoaxes because he thinks you're too stupid to read.
He learned that paying taxes was something people who work for a living did, not him. He learned that telling people you're fired was something to laugh about. Listen to what he says. He says, quote, "I'll be dictator on day one." Quote, "I am your retribution." He promises, quote, "a bloodbath." Suckers and losers, he said it. Who the hell does he think he is?
So there you have it. All they're trying to do is scare you into not voting for Trump, not giving him a chance to talk about policy, to go campaign, to even go to his son's graduation. This is insane. And the more and more they attack Trump, the more and more people just feel sorry for him and are starting to wake up and realize that Biden is not it. But you know what? That's my opinion. What do you think? Comment down below, because we live in some crazy times. And now we're going to have Trump campaigning almost every day in New York because of this trial. And what do you think? Is he going to be found guilty? If he gets to be found guilty, is he going to go to jail if he's found guilty? And I don't know, in my opinion, if Trump is found guilty, he will win in that landslide. That's just going to happen, because how can you lock up a guy that was the president for 4 years? And we got something to compare. We saw his presidency. And by the way, a lot of professionals say that Trump is not going to be able to do anything when he becomes president. Those are just empty promises. But I'm starting not to believe the professionals, because they said the same thing the first time he won, that he wasn't going to be able to accomplish anything. And ultimately, he ended up lowering gas prices. Grocery prices were good. Mortgage interest rate were low. I was able to buy a house when Trump was in office at 3.8% interest. Now it's like 8%. I cannot afford my house today because the interest rate is so high. So just thinking back when Trump was in office and all the professionals said there's no way he could get anything done, he's just making political promises. Now it's like, I don't believe you. Don't believe them anymore, because the proof is in the pudding. And we saw what happened the first time he was president. But let me know what you think. See you guys in the next video. Peace.
Verbal or life.
Donald Trump complained Monday that he may not be able to go to his son Barron's high school graduation ceremony due to the trial in New York.
We had some amazing things happen today. As you know, my son is graduating from high school, and it looks like the judge will not let me go to the graduation of my son, who's worked very, very hard. He's a great student. He's very proud of the fact that he did so well. And I was looking forward for years to have graduation with his mother and father there. And it looks like the judge isn't going to allow me to escape this scam. It's a scam trial. So I just want to thank you very much. But that I can't go to my son's graduation, or that I can't go to the United States Supreme Court, that I'm not in Georgia or Florida or North Carolina campaigning like I should be. It's perfect for the radical left Democrats. That's exactly what they want. This is about election interference. That's all it's about. Thank you very much.